Hello everyone, welcome back to the video lessons of the IMPACT IELTS. This is my third video on IELTS listening. In this particular video, I'm going to take the questions of note completion. If you can remember, I did the same question in the previous video as well. But here we are taking a challenging version because the questions are taken from section 3. Let me remind you about section 3. You can listen up to 4 people in this particular sections, and there are 10 questions, but here I'm taking the second part of that audio, which is 24 to 30 questions. So let's play the audio, and when you get the time, you know that you have to underline the keywords and try to understand the questions. So I will use that time showing you what to do and how to do. So let's start the audio.
We have some time to look at questions 24 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
Now, before you start listening, what I have done, I try to understand each and every question. So what you will do, of course, you can underline the keywords. Here, if I start underlining, technically it will take a lot of time. So, but you must be ready what you have to answer. For example, what I'm listening for is whether the library has a dash of its own or not. With that, if you listen, you will get the answer, whether the library has got dash of its own or not. Let's play.
I've just had an idea. Why don't we make an in-depth study of our local public library as background to our paper?
Yes, that'd be interesting and raise all sorts of issues. Let's make a list of possible things we could ask about, then work out some sort of structure. For instance, we could interview some of the staff and find out whether the library has its own budget or if that's controlled by the local council.
What say? We want to know whether the library has its own budget or it will be controlled by local council. So answer is whether it has a budget of its own. So answer is budget. Now let's listening to the second question. So again, be careful what I'm listening. You will get some time also. How it is affected by laws regarding all aspect of what? So law and all aspect of what?
And what their policies are. I know they don't allow food, but I'd love to find out what types of noise they ban. There always seems to be a lot of talking, but never music. I don't know if that's a policy or it just happens.
I've often wondered. Then there are things like how the library is affected by employment laws. I suppose there are rules about
see how library is affected by employment laws. So laws regarding all aspect of employments. And you have also heard that when they move this, they say after that, then, so always be careful, they'll give you the clue. So let's listen further.
Working hours, facilities for staff and so on.
Right. Then there are other issues relating to the design of the building and how customers use it. Like what measures does the library take to ensure their safety? They'd need floor coverage.
So what measures the library need to ensure the safety? Seeing how the design needs to take the safety of the customers into account. So answer is safety. And now I'll immediately say what dash is required in case of accident. So what is required?
Things that aren't slippery. And emergency exits, for instance. Oh, and another thing. There's the question of the kind of insurance the library needs to have in case anyone gets injured.
Yes, that's something else.
In case they get injured means what kind of insurance? So what insurance is required in case of accident? Immediately you'll move further and you'll say the famous persons what's located in the library.
To find out.
Famous
you know something I've often wondered?
What's that?
Well, you know they've got an archive of local newspapers going back years. Well, next to it, they've got the diary of a well-known politician from the late 19th.
It's a diary of a well-known politician. That means the famous person is the politician, and what is located in the archives, that is diary. So diary is the answer. I'll immediately move further and see whether it has a dash of local organizations. What is about
Century.
local organization?
I wonder why it's there. Do you know what his connection was with this area?
No idea. Let's add it to our list of things to find out. Well, I've just thought, you know, people might ask in the library about local organisations like sports clubs. Well, I wonder if they keep a database or whether they just look online.
Okay, so whether they are data-based or not. So whether it has a database of local organizations or not. So the answer is database, right? Next is how it is different from a library in a what?
Right. I quite fancy finding out what the differences are between a library that's open to the public and one that's part of a museum, for example.
Okay.
They must be very
museum.
different.
So how it is different from a library in a museum. So that was the answer. That was all the answers. You finish the audio, but you can check the answer in the end if you like. So let's finish the audio now.
Then something else I'd like to know is...
So that's the end of this lesson and audio. You must have learned that how you have to be careful before the question comes, that what exactly you have to answer and how many words and what are the keywords. So thank you very much for watching this video. See you very soon in another video of IELTS listening. Bye for now.